Hey, Don Georgevich here. In this video, I'm going to tell you what needs to be in your answers to effectively answer identity questions. So what are identity questions anyway? You've heard me talk about them. You see, these are questions that reveal your traits, your beliefs, what motivates you, what you like and dislike. And your answer to these questions paints a picture of you. Your answer creates a picture in your interviewer's mind of who you are based on many things like what you say, what you do, the books and magazines you read, the people that you've helped, what you do in your spare time, the projects you've worked on, things you've accomplished, what your goals are, etc. I mean, the list goes on and on. The late great Zig Ziglar always used to say, you are who you are and where you are because of what has gone into your mind. And interviewers know this. They know how to dig deep to see who you are. And by asking you a series of identity questions, this helps them create a picture of who you are and to visualize you working there. Just like an architect builds a model of a building before actual construction begins, an interviewer will create a visual model of you in their mind before offering you the job. And if they can't see you working there long term, you're out. But if they can see you, you're probably in. So that's why some of the most unlikely people get hired for jobs. It's because they know how interviewers think. And they know how to present themselves to create this beautiful picture in the interviewer's mind. Now, using identity questions, employers can piece together how you're going to fit into their organization based on your answers to these questions. So if your interests are not in line with their ideal employee, you're likely going to face an uphill battle and you won't get the job. But when you tell them what you liked or disliked about your last job, they can determine if you're going to be happy here long term. You see, long term's the key. That's more important than any skill that you have. Employers don't want to hire short-timers. They want to hire people who they believe will work there for many years to come and will contribute to the overall growth of the company. That's how the company will become successful and remain competitive, not by frequently hiring people that don't work out. So the way you answer these identity questions describes who you are and if you have the right stuff that they're looking for. It's not about giving the right answer because the right answer just isn't good enough. You need to give an answer that allows them to visualize you working there. Now that you know this powerful and charismatic trick, you can create any image you want your interviewer to see in you. Now, that might be a little borderline manipulation there, but and that's really not the topic of this lesson. My point was just to show you what is possible. I don't want you going out there and controlling anyone. I want you to be yourself. I want you to be genuine, but I also want you to be aware of what you're saying and that your words build an image in their mind. So, what kind of image do you want interviewers to have of you? Well, it's different for everyone. For some job interviews, you might want to look like an overachiever. You might want to come across as humble. You might even want to look like a real cutthroat player who would steal their boss's job and on the weekends knock down kids' lemonade stands. You might even want to demonstrate a thirst for knowledge or for helping people or for teaching others about what you know. The list really is endless, and that's why the right answer to an identity question, it depends. It depends on you, your goals, the company, their culture, and a whole bunch of other things, all rolled into one. And you see, there is no right answer. And I can't give you one because you have to create it. Only you can do it. But the purpose of this video is to show you what elements need to be in your answers. But oftentimes, most people, they aren't even aware of what they're saying in their interviews. And this is causing interviewers to pass on them. I mean, for example, if you're interviewing at a university, let's say, one of the things that you should tell them about you is that you're planning for your master's or your PhD. Universities love to hear about your academic goals, and this paints a picture of who you really are to them, and it helps them visualize you there long term. Now, if you're interviewing at places like NASA, they want to hear about your academic goals too. But if you're interviewing at places like Apple and Google, you want to let them know that you're very much concerned about improving the customer experience. You see, both of these companies thrive on selling consumer products and services. So you want to be consumer-minded. You want to have stories about how you have dealt with consumers and more than anything, how much you enjoy helping other people and improving the whole customer experience. Now, Google and Apple, they're also really big on collaboration. So you want to show them that you've worked in groups at your past jobs to accomplish projects. If you interviewed at Google, let's say, and at your last job you were a programmer who worked in a private office, and let's say you were really far removed from everyone else, it really wouldn't matter to Google how good you were at programming. You could be the best at what you do, but Google would likely pass on you because you lack collaboration experience and working with others in an open atmosphere. Now, I bet you're starting to see why you may not have been awarded the job in some of your past interviews, and why there isn't necessarily a right answer to an identity question, just wrong ones. And you see, the questions that would prompt these answers, they could be anything. They could be questions like, what is the most interesting thing about the people with whom you work? What do you, or why do you want to work here? Tell me about yourself, or what is most important to you in your next job? And you see, there are many more of these. And I put a link on this page where you can click on that link. It's a PDF file, and you should be able to get the whole list of these questions and all the behavioral ones too. But my point is, there is no right answer to any of these questions, and they will all have different answers. Let's say you're interviewing for a nursing position. You would want to share with them how much you love taking care of other people, and that's just your passion. Let's say you're interviewing for a school teaching job. You would want to share with them your love of teaching and mentoring younger children. And your comments to these questions, they can come out in many different ways throughout the conversation of your interview. Now, these are all just subtle hints about yourself that you're sharing with your interviewer and interjecting into your answers. And all these are going to create the picture in their mind of who you really are. And when they know who you are, then it's easy for them to make up their mind about you and if you're a good fit into their organization. Now, once you think about how to answer identity questions and what you need to do, answering them gets a lot easier. Let's say you're interviewing for a customer service position. You would want your interviewer to know that you love taking care of customers and you love helping them solve their problems. You might even have a story of your own that you want to share with them about a bad customer service experience that you had and how you don't want that to happen to anyone else. Or let's say you're seeking a management position. What do you want them to know about you? Do you want them to know how capable you are at leading a team? Sure you do. Do you want them to know that you've been successful before? Of course. Do you want them to know that you have a passion for getting things done on time and under budget? Most definitely yes. Do you want them to know that you're analytical minded? Well, possibly. Might depend on the job, but I would think that it ranks up there. There are just so many different scenarios that it's impossible to cover them all with you in this video. And even if I covered 100 different scenarios with you, that still wouldn't be enough to cover every situation. And that's why I developed the Interview Answer Accelerator program. This is where you can write down your answers to these identity questions and project the image that you want on me. Do it on me first. And I'll tell you if your answer is going to fly or not and what you should do to make your answer stronger and to create the image that you want interviewers to see in you. A customer recently wrote into me with the answer that he wanted to give to an employer for why he was terminated. And you see, he had this big long answer about performance issues and that he was suing his former employer. Ouch. He actually thought that he was defending his termination by mentioning the lawsuit. He thought this was a good thing. So you never want to tell an interviewer that you're suing your former employer because they're just going to assume that you're going to do the same to them if things don't go your way in this job. And this is just one example of how someone thought they were painting a positive image with their interviewer, but in reality, it was very negative. Fortunately, he never gave them the negative answer. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned that interviewers are carefully listening to every word that you say and that you really need to be alert and aware of what you're saying because every word is helping them develop this picture of you in their minds. And you can create a good picture or a negative picture. And fortunately, the choice is yours. So make sure that you leave me a comment below. Tell me if you bungled any of these identity questions or if you've used the power of them to land your dream job. I really want to hear your story. I'm here if you need my help. If you want to enroll in the Interview Answer Accelerator, I would suggest doing it soon because I'm only accepting 25 new students and then I'll be closing the program down. And I'll tell you more about the program in the next video. I'll send you an email tomorrow with a link to the last video, or you can share it on Facebook, tweet it, or share it on Google+, and you can start watching it right now. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Hey, Don. This is Charlene Coulomb Fiore, and I just want to thank you for your wonderful book. I've been through several of them. Some actually have hurt me in getting a job, which is quite funny, but I just wanted to tell you that your book was awesome. I've shared it with other people as well, but I was in a complex kind of a situation. Complex in the meaning that I was in a very highly competitive environment, and all your questions and your continued support throughout the process to me was awesome. It was a long process, but I ended up with an awesome job, and I couldn't have gotten there without you. So again, I think you're the best. I think you're the best that money can offer, and I just want to thank you for all your private emails as well as your continued support throughout the whole process. You are awesome. I hope you use some of the things that I provided as well. I think that you touched on so many wonderful areas of the interview process. And one of my last interviews, the woman asked me if I felt lucky, and I said, you betcha. And the next day I got offered the job. So thanks to you, thanks to your book, thanks to your continued support. You're the best. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, month, and continue sharing your thoughts to those of us who needed your help. Thanks again. Bye.